Ready to dive headfirst into the wonderful world of Linux Mint and free software? This 7-part series is going to teach you all you need to know about Linux Mint, starting with Part 1, the desktop. So let's dive in.
Free your mind.
Now, the great part about the Mint desktop is that you're going to find that it's very familiar. And it's familiar because the style closely resembles Windows 10. Prior releases of Linux Mint were made to look more like Windows XP, but as we all know, that went the way of the dinosaur a few years ago. The latest version of Linux Mint 19 has been given a whole new look, a whole new presence, a whole new exciting feel, and a whole bunch of new features to enjoy. So whether you're using Linux Mint for the first time, or you're just getting reacquainted with the basics, this video is going to start teaching you from the bottom up exactly how to use this. This may seem a little basic to some users, but remember, it's for people who may not know anything about Linux also. So if you're interested in learning more advanced things about Linux Mint, you can feel free to skip ahead into the next videos. So in the desktop, you're going to see some very familiar components. Over here you have your desktop where you can put your desktop icons, your background wallpaper, which features the ever so sleek and enjoyable Mint logo. You're going to see the home and computer icons up here. And these are going to open up a file manager window when you double click them with your left mouse click. And it's going to show the contents of that folder. Clicking on the home icon is going to open up a file browser to bring up your home directory. This is where you're going to store all of your personal files and all of your documents, your videos, your downloads, all of the things that belong to you that aren't going to be system or program related. This is just for you and your special little space on your computer. If you right-click anywhere along the wallpaper, you're going to see a context menu appear. And this is going to be a very, again, familiar context menu with some basic features like creating a new folder on the desktop, creating new documents. But, of course, a basic feature that we're all familiar with is to change the desktop background. Left-clicking that will allow you to choose from a sleek array of wallpapers provided by the Mint community, and different folders in here allow you to choose even more awesome selections for your wallpaper. And that's it for everything above the panel. Going down to the panel, which is the bottom portion of the screen, you're going to see an application menu, a series of quick launch buttons, and your system tray. Now I'm going to go over these in a little bit more detail. One of the handy things about Linux Mint is that when you hover your mouse over a particular button or icon that usually would benefit from having context, there will usually appear some helpful text that will appear that can give you context into what the button actually does. So in this case, Firefox is your web browser. If you want to know what this icon is, you can hover your mouse over it and see that it's the terminal, which is the way to use the command line interface for Linux Mint. And then you can see that hovering over here shows the Files application, which left-clicking on that is going to show the file manager. One of the most useful things about Linux Mint is its application menu. It is very simple and easy to use. It also looks very familiar, and it allows you to just search and get your applications as well as recent files quickly and easily. Over on the left, you're going to have a favorites bar. This is going to be for the more frequently used items that you want to store and not have to search through the categories over here to find. By default, they only allow 5 icons in your favorites, and then any additional favorites that you add, you're going to have to move your mouse down to the bottom, and they will scroll automatically to progress down the list of your favorite icons. So you can have more than 5, but the first 5 are only going to be visible at first. And then you're going to have to move your mouse to the top or the bottom of the favorites section in order to begin the scrolling process. If you want to add a program to your favorites bar over here to the left, you can simply left click and drag it. And you'll see a space is provided that's available that you can just snap that into place. Just like that. Or alternatively, if you wanted to right-click on the application entry in the column here, and you'll see a series of menu options have come up. You can add it to the panel, which adds it down to the quick launch area down here. You can add it to the desktop, which will create an icon over here. Or you can add it to your favorites. And adding it to your favorites will close the application window, but when you go back and you scroll down to the bottom just by hovering your mouse in this lower area, you will see that the application that you favorited is now at the bottom of your favorites bar. You can left click and move these around so you position them where you want them to be. So that way you can organize it better and get to your more favorable applications that much quicker. One of the things that makes the app menu so fast is that you can hover your mouse over a category and the right column will filter a list of programs that are relevant to that category. So if you wanted to just look at your internet options, you could hover over internet and then you see that they're all there. If you wanted to access your office components, you can hover over office and see that everything pertaining to the office category is listed available. If you want to see everything, simply go to all applications and that will show you a list of everything that's available. You can use your scroll wheel on your mouse to scroll up and down so that you can search through longer columns that may be longer than this actual list area here. As you can see, when you filter them out, there's not a huge list except for in administration. And then you can use your scroll wheel to scroll through those. Left clicking on an application will open it up and bring it to the desktop. The only part of this that isn't related to applications are your places and recent files. So these categories are more for your documents and your files. Places will show the common folders that you normally use to store your personal belongings. So if you click on downloads with your left click, it's going to open up a file manager window and immediately go to the downloads folder. So you can immediately see the contents of that folder. Going to your recent files, if you have any, it will show the recent folders or files that you visited and you can access them quickly. So if I had a text file I recently made or a PowerPoint presentation or an Excel spreadsheet and I saved it, that it would now be available here for my easy view and to access. If I want to make the list go away, I can simply left click to clear the list and that will close the application menu. But when I reopen it and go to recent files, you'll notice there are no recent documents because I just cleared it. One very useful feature about the application menu is its searchability. From the moment you click the applications menu or you press the super key or the Windows key on your keyboard, you're going to see that there's a text field up here that is automatically highlighted. So the moment that you open this menu, you can begin typing to search for the program that you want to open. So for example, if I wanted to open up a file browser, I could immediately begin typing files and it appears highlighted in the column here to the right. I could, from that point, after I type it in, I can immediately press the enter key and it will open up. So this is a handy way to get to the programs that you want to quicker. And for those who are more comfortable using the keyboard, you can simply use the keyboard as a means to open up programs or navigate through the application menu. You can also even use the up and down arrow keys after you press the window key to the super key to open up the application menu. So up and down will allow you to look through the categories, and then pressing the right arrow key will allow you to move to the right column where you can select the program that you want to use, and then press the enter key to open up the program. The last part of the application menu we're going to discuss are these three buttons here. This one here is your lock screen. This allows you to lock the computer. So if you're going to step away from the machine, you can lock it to secure it so that way people can't just immediately have a seat and look at the things that you're doing or mess with your stuff, whatever. And to log in, you just type in your password and it brings you back to the desktop. Pressing the Logout button will log you out of the machine entirely. You'll see it brings up a window with a couple of different options. You could switch user, you can cancel, or you can log out. Clicking log out will bring you to the login screen where you can type in your password, press enter, and log in again. And there we are. And then the power button opens up a window to shut down the machine. You can have a few options to shut it down, to suspend it, or to restart it. Suspend simply means that it's going to go to sleep, and it's not going to actually power down completely. So that way, if you press the power button, it brings up your computer a lot quicker. Or if you're working on something, say at an airport or at school or at work, and you need to power down your machine for any reason, but you don't want to stop everything you're doing, you can press the suspend button, and that's going to put your computer in kind of a sleep mode that will store your open windows and your active projects. And then when you press the power button again, it's going to come back just the way it was. So that way you can pick up right where you left off. With the quick launch section, the first button over here is to show your desktop. So for example, if you have multiple windows running and for some reason you have, let's say you have desktop icons on here or documents on your desktop that you want to access, and you don't want to have to minimize every single window, you can simply left click the show desktop icon, and that minimizes all windows so that you can now see your desktop. Left clicking it again will bring all of the windows back to their original position. You'll notice which window is the active window on your desktop because there's going to be a lighter shade of gray in the background of these icons, and that's going to tell you which one is selected and active. So if I was to select the terminal here, you would notice that the gray changes from the files to the terminal icon. And that's telling me that this is the window that's in focus, that's the active window. You'll also know if there is a window running or if you already have an instance running of one of these applications because a green line is going to appear at the bottom here, and that's going to tell you that there is presently an application instance that is open. So left clicking on terminal, you'll see, it's kind of hard to see now, but you'll see that there's a green line at the bottom here. And that's the interface letting you know that there's an open window that's already been executed and is on the desktop presently. This isn't just limited to icons that you have added to your quick launch. This will be for any open program on the computer. So if I open up a series of programs, you'll start to see them appear down here at the bottom, and they behave and look just the same way as these quick launch icons over here. Now the only difference between the two is that these are pinned down to the panel at the bottom here, meaning they're fixed in their position. But they can still be moved around. You can left click and drag them and reposition them to wherever you like them to be. If you have an open program that you want to save to the quick launch area, you can simply right click it and left click on pin to panel. And now it's going to be in that position. So if I was to close the other programs, you'll see that VLC Media Player, which I just pinned to the panel, is now a part of this quick launch area. It's now pinned, it's fixed. You can use it and recall it right from the panel here. Right-clicking on an entry here gives you usually a set of a couple of options. It depends on the program. Unpinning from the panel will naturally remove this from the panel. A new window will simply create a new instance of the program. And then you can see once the program has actually been opened, there are other menu items that appear. So these menu options are dynamic. They're meant to help you out or to aid you with the program depending on its current status. If it's closed, if it's opened, if there's something else going on. These are just meant to be context-sensitive menus that are here to help. So the last part is down here at the bottom right. This is the system tray. And this is going to give you all of your system notifications, the status of your network, your volume, And we're going to cover these right now. So the left one is probably the most important. This is your Update Manager icon, and this lets you know whether there are packages or new versions of programs that are available to download and install on your machine. Basically programs that you may need to upgrade because the developer has released a new version of it. So if you left click on that, it will open up your Update Manager, and this will show you if there are any packages or programs that need to be upgraded on your system. A handy little tip that when you hear packages, simply think of it as when you order something online, like a new product from Amazon or something from Walmart. Typically that ships to you in a package, right? So the contents are what's in the package, and the package is simply holding the contents until they get to your door and you open them up. Well, Linux works the same way. Software developers take their programs and they put them into packages, and the packages are stored in a repository over in a secure server. And then those packages are delivered to your computer where they are unboxed and upgraded and installed so that you now have the latest version of that application. So when you hear package, just think that that is the file that contains the programs that you want to open. It's just a helpful little tip. To the right of that is your network icon that shows you the status of the networks that you are connected to for accessing the internet or accessing a home network or a business network. Typically, it will show the Wi-Fi. I only have a wired connection on here, but this is where you'll see where your Wi-Fi connections are that you can access and get onto the internet. And to the right of that is your sound icon. Left clicking that will show you your volume slider where you can increase or decrease the volume with the left click. You can also launch media players straight from the volume icon. And you can manage or adjust your sound settings, and this will give you control on certain sound applications, whether which input you'd like to choose, or your if you have headphones on, you can switch to choose the headphone output. Usually this does it automatically, but if for some reason you wanted to switch it to a different output, you could do so using that sound settings manager. Another handy little tip is that you can use your scroll wheel on your mouse to simply change the volume just by hovering over the sound icon. So you don't need to actually click on it and then adjust the volume through the slider right here. If you're listening to music in an application and you're on the web over here, you can simply just hover your mouse over here and then use the scroll wheel on your mouse in order to raise or lower the volume. The last feature we're going to highlight in this video is going to be the clock. The clock is going to be down here, and left clicking that will open up a calendar. This is not an interactive calendar. This is a very basic calendar that just lets you see the dates and see what day lands on which date. You can just kind of get a basic calendar overview. You won't be able to edit these options. You won't be able to add entries. This is just simply for quick review. Today's date will be shown by this green icon over here. And if you wanted to adjust the date and time settings, also adjust what you see down here at the bottom, you can go to the date and time settings manager by left clicking. And that's going to show you a couple of options for the clock on the bottom. You can change it from 24-hour time down to 12 hours. You can change it from 24-hour time to 12 hours, AM, PM, and that's going to show up right here at the bottom right. You can also display the dates. And if you really need to be specific about what time it is where you're at, you can use the display seconds to literally show the seconds down at the bottom. Alright, so that wraps up this video. I hope this was helpful to you. If you found this helpful or meaningful in any way, I'd really appreciate it if you could click the like button below this video. And also, if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to the show. We'd love to have you as a subscriber, and I love making these videos and helping empower people through the world of free software. So feel free to check out the next videos. They're going to cover different things from how to use the file manager to access and manage your files and folders, how to install and remove software in Linux Mint, as well as how to customize it and to make it your own so that it can suit your specific workflow and your needs. So thanks for watching Free Your Mind. Be sure to take care and stay free.